Hey guys, Real Housewives of Potomac, episodes 4 and 5. So at the beginning of episode 4, Mia is still trying to question Karen on camera and trying to get her to admit guilt in this DUI. Talking about it's okay to say you effed up because it's not your first time doing this. Karen said, I'm not admitting to effing up to shit. Meaning, girl, I'm innocent until proven guilty. Stop trying to incriminate me. So remember, they all ride into Mia's trip at Lake Norman. So Giselle is still mad, of course, at Karen. And she's like, I'm definitely going to have to talk to her because I don't understand why she felt like her little award event was on the same level as my event honoring my father. So Wendy, Giselle, and Jacqueline was riding together, and Wendy was like, I feel like it's a little bit of tension between you and Jazzy. Apparently, when they was flying in, Wendy overheard something where Jazzy called Jacqueline Mia's sidekick, and Jacqueline was like, I'm not nobody's sidekick. But it's like, Jacqueline, you really are Mia's sidekick, so what you offended for? Now, you know Stacey says she don't fly in the month of May because that's when somebody in her family died in a plane accident. Mia and the rest of these girls really can't take Stacey, and I'm starting to notice that. I really fuck with Stacey right now. And right now, my top two for this season are Wendy and Stacey. My third spot is kind of debatable right now between Karen, Giselle, and Kiarna. So Mia trying to tell Karen, oh, I just feel like Stacey's kind of uninterested, and all the other girls feel that way too. And you know, Karen brought Stacey to the group. So Karen's like, well, let me try to fix this. So Karen was like, maybe she'll open up this weekend, and she's planning to talk to Stacey when she comes. Mia talking about her and Ink used to live at Lake Norman when they was 19 years old, and she got great memories here. Girl, you in this permanent ink shit. Bye. That been your man. You're not fooling me. So when they got in the house, everybody said that the house that Mia took them to was so nice. And they all had like a personal butler and a personal concierge. So Karen was like, oh, Wendy, this going to be your last good birthday with this group. Because she's jealous because she feel like every time she had a birthday with the group, it went left. Karen is so damn extra. So when they got upstairs, her and Giselle had separate rooms, and like they had their own sink and mirror, but they had like a shared shower and toilet situation. And she was like, oh, I can't use the toilet after Giselle used it. Like, Karen. I mean, even if you wanted to squat and treat it like a public bathroom because you're saying you can't sit on the toilet after Giselle. I'm just saying, like, you never did that. So Jacqueline looking around for her bedroom, and she realizing like, oh, Mia must be expecting me to stay with her. She said that every time they go on a trip, she end up staying with Mia. But Jacqueline, you don't have a fucking, I mean, this is Potomac, so you know they don't have peaches like Atlanta, but like you don't have a peach. You're not a main cast member. So anywhere you go, you're technically a +1. Let's be for real. Now, this trip is a little different because it's planned by Mia, so I guess she was expecting for Mia to give her a room as her best friend. But you already know what's up. Mia wants you to eat her puss tonight. Stop acting brand new and go do what you be doing any other time. And then Stacey and Kiarna had a room with bunk beds. Remember, Stacey didn't get there yet, so Kiarna's like, what is this? I feel like Mia was kind of doing it like as a hazing thing. Like, oh, y'all are new. Y'all have to learn. If it is a worse room in the house, y'all would have to get it because y'all new. But why Jazzy didn't get that treatment? She's new too. And she's not main cast either. And I feel like the girls will always go through their shady moments with Wendy, but I am glad that she's getting along better with Mia and Giselle now. Mia actually gave Wendy a really nice room that was decorated for her birthday and everything, so you could tell she's coming a long way with the both of them. Like Wendy said, as far as the whole Mia and Jacqueline thing, are we eating boxes? And then Mia gonna say, yeah, Jacqueline gotta stay with me because she's the baby, and I gotta nurse her at night and make sure she's good and fed. So you talking about breastfeeding your best friend. You know she's not playing, right? She's not playing. And then Jacqueline, you don't do nothing about it. So of course, this is why everybody feel like you a sidekick. So Stacey finally arrives in time for the lunch that the chef has prepared for all of them. And Stacey is just so positive, like I said, like the girls they can't take her and they can't move her. She said that she's traveled all over the world with her soon-to-be ex-husband, but she's never gone on a girls trip. So she's really excited about that. When she saw that she had the bunk bed, she did not care. She was happy. She was like, oh, Mia might have thought she was eating me up, but I actually always wanted a bunk bed. So the fact that I get to have that little experience while I'm on a vacation real quick, that's fine for me. Like, she not about to let they petty ass little games get under her skin. If you really don't like me, Mia, say something and do something. Don't keep trying to do passive aggressive shit like put me in a room with a bunk bed, because I'm not moved by it. I like that. So Jazzy claims that the girls were listening too hard and she never called Jacqueline Mia's sidekick. Do I believe her? Not really. Jacqueline was like, I'm giving the full package. I'm giving the full body, honey. I could stand up and show you. Jazzy said, yeah, because where are you giving that? So then when Jacqueline stood up, she was like, oh, from the neck up? So to me, Jazzy was basically saying, you cute in the face, but the body is not all that, or the outfit is not all that. So Jazzy was like, I feel like Jacqueline's a little obsessed with Mia. And then I guess when Jacqueline finally did meet Jazzy, she asked Mia like, oh, did you replace me? But where Jazzy started to lose me was acting like she wanted to take Jacqueline's spot as Mia's best friend or sidekick. And you're not even a main cast member. So are you trying to ride Mia's coattails? Like, everybody started getting confused. Like, are you girls arguing over who's going to be Mia's sidekick? Then we find out that Mia's inviting some of her friends that she has out here near Lake Norman to the house. So they asked Jacqueline, like, are you friends with these girls as well? And she was like, you know, they're Mia friends and I've met them and I'm cordial with them. So it's kind of given that anybody who Mia is friends with, Jacqueline don't like, because she is kind of weirdly obsessed with her. But I mean, that's what happens when you have a friendship and you let the lines get blurred. It's the same way how if a woman and man are friends, but then they sleep together, their friendship is never going to be the same. It's never going to be able to just be a fully platonic, regular friendship. It's always going to be some weird sexual tension or romantic feelings buried, even if it's one-sided in there. And I feel like it's the same way when girls who are friends mess around. So Stacey was like, damn, Jacqueline, it seemed like you got a lot of beef with a lot of people. And then Karen stepped in and was like, I was nothing but a friend to her, but look what she did to me. Because Jacqueline was the one who, when they all were waiting for Karen to come in to her little party after she had the DUI, she decided to tell the whole table being messy, oh, well, after the DUI, she called me one night and she was drunk. And if she just had a DUI and has an open case, she's not supposed to be drinking. So again, saying shit on camera to incriminate her and just being messy and not being a real friend. So why did Jacqueline start crying and playing the victim 5 minutes later? I have no idea. But I was not moved by that either. And Giselle shut up talking about Karen was being a mean girl and she's deflecting. And Jacqueline didn't say what she said with malice. Jacqueline was being messy, just like you be being messy. And Karen read Jacqueline ass down, and you need to be happy that she didn't read you the fuck down. So Jazzy told Mia, when I said from the neck up, I was just saying that you're a beautiful woman. Like, you have a beautiful face. I wasn't even thinking about how your body was shaped, but I don't like your outfit. So when she said that, she was referring to Jacqueline's outfit being a mess, which it was. It was basically just a black plain sweatsuit. So, you know, it wasn't nothing fashionable. Stacey and Karen went outside, and Karen let her know that the girls feel like she's uninteresting. And Stacey basically was like, yeah, I'm out of this world with positivity, and these girls can't take me. As far as her saying that she's worried about telling her daughter Arabella about her and the husband getting a divorce, like Karen said, that girl is smart. She's 8 years old. You said she's very advanced. You and the husband are sleeping in separate bedrooms. I'm pretty sure she knows that y'all are already headed for divorce. So they get on a boat, and the boat is taking them to cruise around Lake Norman. And Karen comes and sit next to Giselle, and she's like, hey, Giselle, and just starts trying to chat it up with her. And Giselle in her confessional was like, this is not how it works, Karen. I hope that we could get back on a good page, but we're going to do some talking first. Like, we're going to have a conversation about this and address what you did with those events and double booking and not telling me, knowing that it was my father event. You're not just going to sweep this under the rug and start talking to me. I'm going to just start calling Kiarna K. That's how you know her name is hard to pronounce. She just got people calling her K. So Stacey asked K, is there anybody in the group who you don't really get along with or you're not that close to? And she said, you know, me and Ashley is a very interesting situation. Because Kay got into it with Ashley's ex-friend Deborah on season 8 at a Giselle and Ashley event. And I remember the girl Deborah, she was just messy. Every time she came in the group, she was messy, trying to say somebody's husband wanted her, and she ain't even all that. She was a mess. So Stacey asked her, did Ashley ever apologize for her role in it? And Kay said that she did, but at the time, she just wasn't willing to accept it. As far as what Mia had to say about Gordon and his bipolar disorder, I feel like Mia did marry Gordon for his money, and she was only with Gordon for his money. But I do feel like she feels indebted to him to it in a sense, where like, even if she's not going to be with him, she'll always be like a caregiver or a caretaker for him, especially now that he is diagnosed with this mental illness. But I don't know if he could take that with her dating other people in his face and wanting them to be under the same roof. Like, that's crazy. So Kay told Stacey, like, I understand why you didn't fly with us. I understand everything that happened with your uncle. But, you know, there was a little chatter about you dating. So I just wanted to ask you about that. And Stacey was like, yeah, Ashley decided to say, oh, Stacey's getting a divorce and she's dating. Ha, ha, ha. And she's got a new man. Ha, ha, ha. And Stacey was like, I just didn't like that. So I had to say something. And Kay was like, yeah, I understand. But Ashley is on the other side of the boat and now overhearing them talking. And Ashley was like, stop saying I said that. I didn't say that you're getting up under a new man. I said that you said you had a friend. And Ashley was like, I didn't know it was a national secret. All I said was she had a friend. And Karen was like, well, I know Stacey is very private. So maybe she just felt the way about you saying it in front of the whole group. Like some of the people that were there, I think Stacey, it was her first time meeting them. So Ashley like, oh, maybe Stacey don't want her ex-husband to find out about what she's doing with this new guy because their divorce isn't final. But I'm telling you from experience, it doesn't end well. Girl, stop trying to tell people to learn from your mistakes and feeling like you could judge people because you've been through the same shit. That's the same reason that you actually shouldn't be judging them, and you should only be supportive and not weird. So Stacey told them again she's with somebody who's a devout Christian. They haven't been intimate, and she hasn't been intimate with anybody in over a year. So Mia was like, well, I don't believe Stacey's celibate. So Stacey was like, who called me boring? And Giselle was like, I think I called you stiff. And then Wendy was like, well, it was Mia. And Mia was like, yeah, I called you boring. And I think at the table today, we all agreed that you're just a little uninteresting. And everybody was like, damn. So now they sit down to dinner. Giselle addresses Karen about the double booked events. Now, when it comes to that, Karen was definitely playing and being shady, but she sat there and apologized to Giselle and told her that, you know, she did care about her father's event and stuff. But it was like, girl, no, you didn't, because that was some messy ass shit. But then she gonna say, I don't take responsibility for your behavior. I guess saying kicking the other girls out of the event when they got there. And she was like, I raised you better than that, Giselle. So Giselle leaves to go to her twins' cap and gown ceremony, but she's coming back tomorrow. And then Mia's other friends that she invited arrived to the house. Now, one of the friends went out with Karen and Mia before. So the friend that Karen knows, her name is Joy. So Mia tells her friends to go around the table and tell the ladies a funny story about her. And Joy is like, I think the funniest story was when we was at dinner and Ink took Mia's feet and started sucking her toes. That was funny to you? That he put her feet up and started sucking them at the dinner table while y'all was eating? And then Joy was very detailed. Like, oh, it was between the big toe and the second toe. Like, you really enjoyed that. You was watching hard. So then one of the other friends, Ashley, was like, well, I know Mia for like 13, 14 years. When I met her, she was getting married to G and I was helping her like plan the wedding. And of course, Jacqueline got to hype up like, oh, hold on. Ain't nobody know Mia longer than me. Talking about I knew her before G when she had the Honda Civic, da 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 da. Like, girl, you really needed to pipe up for that? Nobody cares. Then Mia decides to be messy and try to get her lick back for Jacqueline. And going to say, oh, I have a funny story. Remember when me, you, and Joy went out, Karen? We had so much fun and we was lit. But the funny thing is, when you left, you butt dialed us and you said, dun, dun, dun. So episode 4 ends there. So now we're going into episode 5. So apparently when Karen butt dialed them, they heard, those ladies think I'm with Ray. They have no idea. So Mia sat on this story from 2 or 3 years ago and now trying to bring it up and insinuate that Karen is cheating on Ray. And then going to say, oh, and we was drinking a lot of brown liquor that night and you drove off. Trying to insinuate that she was driving under the influence again. And Karen was like, yeah, I did drive off. And then I pulled over and I called my driver. And Karen was like, Mia, that was a good try. I like how you a good friend to Jacqueline, but that don't take away from the fact that she's a liar. And Stacey's just like, it seemed like they coming at Karen with something every 5 minutes. And Wendy was like, with friends like those, who needs enemies? It's like y'all keep Karen name in y'all mouth and keep her the topic of conversation, but then y'all try to say she's not really the grand dame. It's not given that, though. It's given that she is, because she's all y'all been talking about this season so far. So Stacey was on the phone with TJ, and Jazzy and Wendy came out to say hi to him. And like Wendy said, it's giving virgin couple who met at Bible study. Karen still hating on Wendy low-key. Talking about my 40th birthday was lit. I had a whole party. We had bottles. It was a vibe. Da-da-da-da-da. We sitting here in pajamas, Wendy. But Wendy was very happy and appreciative of the ladies staying up with her and just, doing all that they could to make this weekend special for her. So we see Mia and Jacqueline sit down. She's talking about Karen is a tough bag. But once again, they're talking about Gordon, and Mia says she feels like he's kind of in a manic state right now. He's just firing off all these text messages at her, and she feels like it's whenever she leaves or she's like away from him for too long. And I'm glad Jacqueline told her, like, Gordon is not over you the way you're over him. So you have to tread lightly. You can't be telling him you love him and stuff, even if you don't mean it like that. You should know how that word would affect him because of y'all history. And then Mia was basically saying that Gordon said he feel like she's keeping him around so that her life could be easier, like to take care of the kids. But she like, at the end of the day, those are his kids too. So he's supposed to take care of his kids. And then Mia said, I'm financially supporting him anyway. I guess since he fell off. So Jacqueline was like, yeah, he should just watch the kids anyway because he's on payroll. So we saw Giselle, Jamal, and Grace at Angel and Adore's cap and gown ceremony. Giselle was emotional, of course, because her dad isn't there. And then also because this is her last cap and gown ceremony. Now all of her kids have graduated high school, so they're all going to be off to college. And she's going to be an empty nester. So they basically asked Wendy, does she have any bucket list things that she wants to do since she's 40? She said she wants to skydive. Ashley said that her and Michael went skydiving on their second date, and they had a great time in the air and on the ground. And then Mia tells them that they're going to one of the first doctor's offices that she opened out here. Everybody's looking around like, girl, who want to go on a tour of a doctor's office? And then she's going to say, yeah, Dr. McDaddy. And everybody like, Dr. McDaddy. Like, girl, what? Karen said, what? McDaddy got McHo with him? So then Giselle called Wendy and said that she's about to fly back to see them, but she wanted to call to say happy birthday. So like I said, I'm glad their little friendship is growing. I hope it lasts. So the ladies were acknowledging that as well. And Wendy was like, yeah, I'm all about being zen and forgiving in this chapter. And Jacqueline was like, yeah, you have to be forgiven because if not, you're going to be bitter and nasty. And she's sitting right next to Karen and kind of does this with her head. And Mia had looked at Karen like, yeah, it'll make you a bitter old bitch. So Stacey was like, are you referring to Karen when you say that? Jacqueline was like, well, I wasn't referring to Karen. And Kay and Jazzy both told Karen that they were proud of her because they feel like what's going on here is a little low. Mia, why are you bringing something up from 3 years ago? Like, we're tired of the Karen conversation. That's all they feel like is being talked about. And Mia was like, well, this is boot camp. I feel like Karen was proud of me. Like, she taught me well. And at the end of the day, I worked for my flute and I got my flute. We're working on yours. And was like doing that to Kay. And Kay was like, I don't need a flute. I'm good where I'm at. You need a flute. And Kay was basically like, yeah, because that triangle you got is very interesting. It's colorful for a story. Basically saying like this whole you, Gordon, and Ink thing is a storyline and you use it to be on the show because you want to be on the show and be a main cast member that bad. And Mia was like, oh, well, we could bring up your drug dealer boyfriend. And Kay said, what drug dealer boyfriend? Because my current boyfriend is a licensed clinical social worker. So she was like, oh, I'm talking about an ex maybe. And she like, okay. So she was like, Mia, what's your past? Because Mia was like, yeah, I'm a stripper. So if you're a stripper, let's not talk about the type of people that you probably dated. And you worried about if I dated a drug dealer way in my past. That's not who I'm with now. So why do it matter? So remember when Kay got into that fight with Deborah on season 8, Deborah had hit her in the face with a glass and she had to get stitches. Her forehead was split open and she has a scar from it. So Mia was like, well, at least I didn't have to go to the streets. You know all about the street stitches. And she was like, oh, glass. And Kay was like, well, you wasn't that far away when you assaulted Wendy, number one. And number two, the only thing glass is the face. Basically saying like, my face is clear. My skin is tea. Your skin is bumpy as fuck with craters. So Jacqueline tried to turn to Kay like, oh, we don't harp on people's past. And Wendy had to jump in like, say that to your friend because she's the one who brought up Kay's drug dealer boyfriend from the past first before she said anything about Mia being a stripper and everything. And keep in mind, everything that's being said about Kay is alleged. Nobody has facts. They keep saying it's a rumor. Everything we saying about Mia is facts. And then Mia even admitted that she started it. So Jacqueline was just looking stupid. And it was like, yeah, pipe down, sidekick. So Jazzy's like, okay, let me try to calm the room down. It's Wendy's birthday. Let's just focus on that. And Ashley gonna say, oh, well, I got one question. Did you have a scar, though? And Wendy's like, what are you asking her? Do she got a scar for? Like, bro. And Kay immediately got agitated because, like I said, she was at Ashley's event when this happened, and it was done by Ashley friend. She like, girl, don't ask me nothing about my scar. I have a scar, but don't ask me nothing about it. So Kay went off on Ashley and walked out. Of course, Ashley playing innocent, like she ain't know what she was doing. Mia gonna say, oh, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. So Wendy went to check on Kay, and she was crying, and she was talking about, I live with a form of a scar on my forehead every day. What is a form of a scar? No shade. But Kay came back and basically told Ashley, like, don't ask me nothing about it because you was too involved in what happened to me to be asking me anything about it, basically. And she basically told Ashley, like, that's off limits for me and you. Jacqueline gonna say, but how did it even come up? And Kay was like, are you okay? Like, stop asking me questions and trying to keep the conversation going. I just said it's done. So Karen was like, oh, can I just be a little messy? And she asked Jacqueline, isn't she trying to work it out with Mr. PP, which is her ex that we saw a couple weeks ago? And Karen was like, oh, so tell them about how he had 25 convictions and you stuck by him. So he was charged and fired. And Jacqueline said it was an internal investigation in the police department and that he was working in a very racist police department. And he now has another job as a police officer in a different department. So Jacqueline was mad and Karen was like, I don't start it, I finish it. And Wendy kept checking shit, kept telling Jacqueline and Mia how they was contradicting themselves with Kay and Karen. Ashley kept trying to step up for Mia and Jacqueline low-key, talking about everybody has a past. And Wendy told her, shut your ass up, shut up. So they started going back and forth a little bit, and Stacey was like, it's Wendy's birthday, respect her. I was cracking up, yo. Show some respect. So then Kay, Karen, and Jazzy was talking on the side, and she was like, and I got a bitch who looked like somebody threw rocks at her face talking to me, talking about Mia. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it gives. Like, when I say creative face, that's what it gives. Like, it gives somebody threw rocks at her face. So Mia, Jacqueline, and Ashley upstairs looking at Karen's 8 convictions or 8 charges. And they like, she got a court date coming up, blah, blah, blah. So when Stacey saw the charges, she was shocked. But she still felt like Mia was coming from a messy place. And she was like, I don't know how to feel about this. Mia talking about we need to take Karen to rehab. And Stacey was like, I just don't feel like this is coming from a concerned place. Like you doing this to be messy. So she walks out and she's like, Karen, can I please talk to you? So Stacey told Kay and Karen that they showed her all these charges. And Kay was like, what the fuck? And Karen was like, well, you know, I can't talk about any of the allegations. And Stacey was like, well, I'm just telling you, they told me I need to watch out for who I defend. I'm always going to defend you because I know who you are. But basically, like, these girls are not your friends. So Stacey was like, and they also said that they want to take you to rehab and that you admitted that you had an alcohol problem and you would go to rehab. Is that true? Should I be worried about you? So Karen's just staring and the episode ends here. So I will see y'all next week for episode 6. Bye.